Alright guys, I think we're going to be live here pretty soon. Have almost all the players joined from both teams. For the pick ban system today, it's going to be for the first map in factions. Fort of Honor, Blandia versus Botania. Next map will be Trading Post with Sergia versus Azurai. This is Dusk 2 versus Enova's team, Stepbrothers. So, we're waiting on, I believe it was Stepbrothers team to make some last minute adjustments. And holding tab, you can see Dusk has pretty much all the players in. Dusk is ready. Stepbrothers, they're also ready. So that saves us needing to spend any time looking over the stat sheets and looking over the map annotation view. So we're going to skip that for today. It's kind of my backup option if there was a prolonged delay, but we're pretty much on time. Only about 7 minutes late, so getting started in 8 seconds. We're probably going to have, let's see, Poe on Cav, I'm guessing. Definitely for Stepbrothers, maybe alongside Eenova, I'm not sure. I haven't paid super close attention to Zedav. I'm sure we're going to have Squiggles on Cav for Dusk, probably alongside Juice, and I'm not sure who their archers are. I think that Viper will be dangerous on infantry, and definitely want to look out for as well. And then what else? We're getting started here, so what's happening? Squiggles is on Cav as expected. Tony's also on Cav. It's CodyBloom and Poe on Cav on Stepbrothers, so not Eenova, which makes sense. He's mostly an infantry player as of recently. No Cav fight happening, but the infantry fight is maybe starting pretty sensibly. You have the Dusk 2 team is hiding in that corner, away from that staircase and line of sight from Percy, who's a pretty nasty archer, in a good way for him. And so yeah, I think we're kind of playing chicken. Dusk doesn't want to push forward and get shot in the side, and Stepbrothers, they don't. That is a horrible start of the fight for Dusk. Squiggles just gets an unfortunate rear on that flagpole and takes a bunch of damage and just goes down immediately. Poe's also hit really hard. Looks like one of the guys on Dusk must have taken a bump stab. Tony does also get shot. I think both the Cav are now dead. First life Dusk. I think that probably Stepbrothers will be favored to win this round right now, if something turns around. Archer's getting pushed, but I think Cav's going to help kill Kobalt. Dusk is holding up pretty well for having lost their Cav right away, but if their Cav did trickle and take a bunch of damage, that's a big problem. Squiggles took half damage, and Tony's full HP, but that could quickly change here. He did take a bunch of horse damage just there. About 30% of his horse, maybe 40%. I think CodyBloom is still first life and gets a remount, so that's not great for the second life Cav, who might get dismounted by him. Especially if they don't see him. That was smart to aim for the horse there. And a real big problem for Dusk. Both the Cav are super low. They are going to be able to loot a horse, which is big. But they're both hit pretty hard, especially Squiggles' rider is almost toast. Only two... Is it 2 or 3 first lives that are still up on Blandia? Yeah, I don't think that this is terribly winnable for Dusk, because they're going to have to do something pretty crazy here to turn it around. They have 2 second lives who have already taken a bunch of damage, and none of the second lives are hurt for Stepbrothers on Blandia. So at this point, it's definitely Stepbrothers' round to lose. They're going to have to do something pretty stupid here, or Dusk is going to have to do something really incredible for them to lose. I should say for Stepbrothers to lose. Okay. That was huge. Might have been what they needed. Probably not enough on its own. That's one Cav completely out right now. Another infantry completely out. Tony's now also out. Yeah, it's probably first round win for Stepbrothers, I'm guessing here. Okay, well that was actually a morale victory for Blandia, and I mean in terms of the flag control. Poe got 4 kills there, holding down tab. He got 658 score, which is pretty crazy. And Tony got 373, which is not bad, but not quite as impressive. Percival was doing pretty well with the crossbow. Probably will have that again. And still no archer on Dusk. Probably, I'm guessing they just don't really have one they trust. I mean, Titania's... The Fian is really powerful. It's got that really strong perk versus mounts. Huge increase on mount damage, so... I don't imagine it's a class problem in terms of the class not being very good. I think that they don't have an archer player. Kind of the exact same positioning here. I mean... I don't know. I think playing the slow game here doesn't necessarily help Dusk, but... They don't want to commit right away. Let's see what's happening in the Cav. So, in terms of the Cav fight, Tony's already about dead, and they probably want to start fighting pretty soon here. Now, where is the other Cav? Squiggles comes in from that doorway. I think Percival takes a hit there. Not a huge one. He's half HP. First Cav is dead on Stepbrothers. Both Cavs still for Dusk. One of the Dusk Cav goes down. Killed by CodyBloom. We have a Stepbrothers Cav is trickling back in on second life. Could be a big problem if he dies here. He'll probably be fine because he's on Knight. Pretty tanky class. I don't know if he did a bunch of damage for taking the risk of coming back in. But either way, that was a really good fight for Stepbrothers again. I think it's going to be a consistent, very large problem for Dusk that they don't have an archer, and there is one on Stepbrothers' team. Percival's a pretty solid archer, and I wouldn't be surprised if he could play a division higher, honestly. So, it's going to be a challenge for Dusk. Next map is Trading Post, which is really not going to help with that equation at all, either. Very open map. Some sort of Cav fight happening here. Maybe one of the Cav gets knocked out early. It's CodyBloom's first life, I believe. Fight's happening over here. This is the reset for the Blanded Infantry. They just want to get a little bit of damage before they go down here. They don't have to actually win the fight completely. Okay, so Eenova went down without doing a ton of damage. Got at least one hit, and I can see overall how many that was. And so, just about everybody's on last right now. Yeah, everybody's on last, and pretty equal in terms of the overall health pool over here right now. Except for Poe is completely out, so that's a big difference. Both Cav are up for Dusk, and they're fighting in a corner, which is not really where they want to be if they have the Cav advantage. But it does make it harder to shoot them, I suppose. I mean, they've got to win this fight pretty fast if they have an archer shooting at them and their Cav. I think this could be turning around for Dusk. That's a second unfortunate rear for Squiggles in this half so far. I couldn't tell. I mean, he got hit by a mace, but I wasn't sure if he got shot first or not. I'll have to see how much damage Percy did after the round, because I'm not sure if he's been missing shots or not. Now, this is going to be really rough for Kobalt. I don't think this is winnable for him. Like, even... yeah. So, he did a decent amount of damage, not a ton, but not nothing on Archer. Percy, that is. Poe got another 300 score that round. And Tony got another 200 or so. I didn't memorize the rest. I think Squiggles might have gotten around 400 that round. Looks like Kobalt is the best infantry, and Hulin for Dusk, and I think Hulin's the best infantry for Stepbrothers right now, in terms of score alone. Eenova and Rogue are having a rougher time of it on infantry. Just in terms of score, which, you know, isn't everything. Okay, so they do have an archer this time. It is Juice. And, I wasn't sure if he was an archer player or not. I don't know him that well. I think he's probably got a decent shot of doing something here. Pun intended. There's a cav fight happening in the background here in the alleyway. It does sound like, you know, Juice is turning around, probably getting comms from his team about that. And he doesn't get a shot on anyone, which is a huge waste. He's being used very ineffectively. Where's their archer? His archer's in a much more aggressive position, and he's just not getting punished for it at all. I'm not sure what happened with that, if he's snuck around. That probably is what happened, I just didn't notice that in the background. That was a brutal fight for Britannia. I think all the infantry survived for Vlandia. Save for maybe when the cav went down. But this is looking to be a pretty bad first set for Dusk. I don't think that the archer made a huge difference, fortunately. Okay, should not have fainted there. And Squiggles is getting chased down. He is second, and Poe is first. So that's never a fun position to be in. When it gets to be a lot more brave. It's a good shot, though. That's a good stab. These infantry really want to pull open if they have 2 cav nearby them. We already have 2 down on Britannia. This is not good. Viper's just brutalizing these guys. Okay. I don't want to judge Juice too harshly there, because if your team's getting rolled over, it's hard to play Archer. So it's hard to say how much of that is him versus his team overall. Not a huge difference in score between Poe and Tony. Toward their respective cav players. Let's see if I can go to back to that screenshot. And so, what else is happening there? Viper, as I thought he was going to do, got a lot of score on infantry. Percy got less score than his infantry player. I think is more, you know, to say something positive about Viper rather than something negative about Percy. And, yeah, the infantry on Britannia that round did not get nearly as much score as some of the Vlandians did. But again, I think it's mostly just due to Viper being an outlier and maybe arguably a little bit overqualified for this division, but that's not really my department. And that's going to happen. There's always going to be edge cases for our division. Like, somebody has to be the best player within a certain league, right? So there's not a lot you can do about that. And I'm not saying he's the best overall, but, you know, there's got to be people in that range. Okay, so any changes anticipated? I'm going to guess... I don't know. I don't think that Juice got to shoot for very long. But let's just assume that they try it, because the staircase is pretty nice. And if your team's getting rolled over, this is a good spot to run to. They'll try... If they do have an archer, they'll try to fight more to the right here, I imagine. And they do have an archer... And I imagine they're going to try to fight to the right of the flag on B. We have Squiggles taking the barding because he doesn't want to get shot by the nuclear bomb arrows from Percy Vert. I'm sure he has that perk to do just maximum damage to horses. And even with barding, you know, one shot's going to easily get your horse below half health, I think. So, kind of an archer duel happening here, maybe. You know, last round, Dusk was very passive and in a corner. This time, they're a little bit more offensive. They do have an archer. Juice takes a gigantic hit from the rear. Probably not paying enough attention, unfortunately. 2 kills for Britannia. This round is going way better than the first round last set. Juice is getting pushed, and he's very low. He's getting pushed by a pretty solid infantry player. So, I was going to say, Nova's a pretty good duelist. I would not be surprised if he killed him there, and he did. Okay, so I think that my brain temporarily stopped working when Britannia was doing better than they were last set. There was a side swap, so actually no change there. So Vlandia, meaning Dusk, is not doing great right now, but You know, maybe they can reset Eenova and Viper without taking a bunch of damage. What's happening to the Cav fight over here? Cav just killed Cav, I guess. Didn't see that. So Squiggles is last. Is he last? He's also last. He's being chased by Poe, trying to run back to, I imagine, Tony to help him. And he avoids getting hit there. Final infantry fight kind of happening. Not really final fight, hopefully. That is brutal. There's just 2 infantry left on Britannia that Dusk needed to reset, and they did not. Yeah, the first lives on Stepbrothers did finish the second lives for Dusk, so that is a really bad start. First set was a 3-0 in favor of Stepbrothers. So, we're just finishing off this last Cav here. Yeah, that is rough. First, you got a ton of score, which is probably frustrating the efforts of Squiggles a lot, as well as Tony. And they did okay despite having presumably the less skilled archer. I mean, I'm just going to say that's more than likely the case if Juice got 63 score and Percy got 413. So anyways, same comp here. They did a shield drop for the archer, and they gave a Eenova 200 sword on Stepbrothers. Kind of a very unorthodox weapon swap. Let's see if it works out or not. If you were smart, you'd have 2 people hit this guy and try to knock him out really fast. Which is kind of what they're doing. They just have to kill this guy fast. Like, this is smart. I mean, he's doing a good job blocking, but I would definitely have... Is that a team? That was a team kill, actually. It's almost like he bumped... Well, he kind of makes up for it right away. He kills another cavalry player, but that was crazy. Okay. Alright, when there's going to be a dull moment, I'm going to try to fix the team labels here in a second. Was that Tony's last life? It was. This is a really bad spot for Squiggles. He's gonna get in trouble here. See out. That was his first life, so not a huge deal. Okay. Well, it seems like Dusk actually won the first fight. And they are up a little bit. Although Tony's dismounted, so that's kind of a problem for them. And they're fighting with one of their players very split. He's going to go run for a horse, I imagine, but I don't... He did remount. I think he'll be back in time, but really bad position with this archer. He is getting pushed, though. And he drops down. I think Kobalt got hit right as he's getting up. I'm not sure about that 100%, though. I think this is another lost round for Dusk. I mean, they had a decent shot here, but wasn't a great position for them. Okay. All right. Well, not too sure what Dusk can do to turn this around. I'd probably try no archer again. Just give one more shot. They do still have one, I think. No, they dropped the archer. So they're fighting right away, and that makes sense. You have no archer. One Botany goes down right away, so decent start for Dusk this fight. Archer's occupied by Tony right now, but he gets dismounted and almost hit on the ground. I mean, Tony gets kind of lucky there, getting kicked and hit on the ground almost and dodging both those hits. But ultimately, Dusk did not win that fight. Both their cav dismounted. Archer and 2 infantry are still alive. Okay, so Viper and Eenova are going to reset here. And that will be the last fight on this round. Okay, well, Viper gets murdered and doesn't do any damage. Juice has no eco. Is this second life cav? Oh, it is. That's a big deal. Was that? I couldn't tell if it was a bump stab or a regular stab, but either way, Bigbee takes a pretty big hit there. Half HP. They're really trying to murder the second life cav who's dismounted, but they're doing a decent job of. Wow, that's crazy. If he remounts there, I'm gonna. That would be nuts. This is terrible. Having their whole team right there and struggling to kill that last guy for that long is very unfortunate. Poe did a really good job of supporting his teammate there. And they took a ton of damage. They did knock out one of the players, the cav, but took way too much damage in the process. And they're going to be fighting underneath the watchful eyes of Percival again. Not a great spot. They're trying to move more to the right side, I think, which is smart. Can't really spear when there's even a infantry. I mean, you could try, but it's challenging. Okay, that's going to be a 6-0 in favor of Stepbrothers for the first map. Pretty brutal. Technically, if they don't lose any rounds from here, Dusk could still tie. I'm going to guess that won't happen. I'm going to move in the standby for a second while I mess with the stream settings. Hopefully they don't start the round immediately. We'll cut back to the stream once we're actually beginning the round. In the interim, enjoy this pleasant Oblivion soundtrack. All right, sorry for the abrupt stop to the music there. We'll be starting here pretty soon. I think that both teams are ready. We have a ready from Eenova, we have a ready from Dusk, so we're starting here in a second, I imagine, as soon as somebody with the admin tools does their job. So this is not live yet. You may have noticed that I fixed the labels and scoreboard on the left and right of the screen. If you didn't notice I was wrong the whole time, then that's good. Anyways, I don't know why by default it labels a 3 and 3 for both teams. It's kind of weird. Oh, I know what happens. Never mind. It's fine. It's because the side swap didn't change the teams for the side swap. It's not automatic, so that makes sense. Only the highest levels of professionalism for NA Bannerlord streaming here. I've turned on the smooth camera mode here, so you might notice that seems different. I'm not sure if I love it. I think it's an improvement, but it does feel weird for small adjustments. Yeah, oddly enough, they both called ready a full minute ago, and now we are actually starting here. I do hope they finish soon, because the A Division match is due to start in just under, was that 43 minutes, I think? So, I will probably have to leave early on this match. I don't miss the start of the A Division match, so hopefully they finish in time, which is probably going to happen. We'll see. Alright, so I actually haven't memorized which side is attackers or defenders, but we'll have... I don't know, for comp-wise, I imagine that Dusk will bring an archer. Certainly, probably a 2-1-3 for Azurai, meaning Stepbrothers. Let's see what happens. So yes, we do have a 2-1-3 on Azurai, and no archer on Sturgia. It is Sturgia, so that kind of makes sense. Didn't really factor that in my thinking here. Pretty weird matchup. That is a brutal start for Dusk. Tony immediately gets just killed. That's no fun. Alright, let's set a preview point here for Mr. Percival. That's number 6 or 5? That's 6. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, I mean, Azurai have paper-thin armor. They're going to die in one hit here, and their cab will have to win that for them. They're trying to move the center of the fight towards Percival, but you can't really chase down an archer and block at the same time when there's somebody right behind you. Yeah, they just... It's kind of even on the infantry line right now, I think. One went down for both teams. But, I mean, this is First Life Azurai, and they're actually up in the infantry fight. That should not be happening versus Azurai. Versus Sturgian infantry on the first fight. I think Azurai can afford to triple here. It's kind of fine either way. I think that they've done enough damage to these guys that... I mean, basically, as the Sturgians, in this case, you need to sweep... I mean, this is the round to lose for Sturgia. So in that sense, this is the best time to get totally rolled over for Dusk on Sturgia. They're going to have that worse eco for their second lives on the first round only, typically. But still, just in terms of how they're performing, to still have Azurai first lives fighting Sturgian second lives, it's a very bad sign for things to come. There's a very nice bump stab from Poe there, so that was not a blockable hit. Poe gets a double kill there. Doesn't get the bump stab again, though. Somebody else dehorses and Poe finishes him off. That was pretty brutal. Two of the Azurai infantry stayed alive the entire time. And again, Sturgia didn't have their good heavy infantry second lives. The Variag second lives were not available on the first round for eco reasons. But nonetheless, to be fighting two Azurai infantry and have them actually kill your entire second lives in the first round, I don't know. I think that Dusk will probably pick up, you know, maybe a couple rounds in the next set or two. But I'm going to guess not more than 2. The next 2 sets. It's been going pretty poorly so far, unfortunately. It's not as if I really want Dusk to win, but it's not fun when these matches are so one-sided. Sturgie's got these guys in a better position here. They're not being chased by Cav in the open quite so badly, so this is going much better for them. And, you know, maybe they'll prove me wrong about only getting maybe 2 rounds this half. Poe Heavy Cav does kill the first life Tony there. He's still in the game, though. Poe is, he's not hit very hard. He's hit for about 20% on his second life. Not a big problem here. I think these are still the Sturgian first lives fighting the Azurai second lives. They're kind of all over the place. Getting Viper here would be good. They do get 1 hit on him, I think. This round's doing way better for Sturgia. They're not getting obliterated by Cav. I think that fighting... This is a good spot for Sturgia to be fighting. They don't want to fight in the open. Okay. This is a real chance of being the round for Sturgia to win. Now, do you delay here and let him run away? I mean, delaying resetting him, I don't know if that would hurt them or not. And generally, I think that... It depends. If they have an archer, you don't have an archer, then delaying them as much as possible is not necessarily the great thing to do. So, I don't know why is Bigbee fighting this guy so much by himself? Whoever needs to kind of help him with that. Or Kobalt, but somebody needs to get on Viper. Shouldn't be... Letting Viper 1v1 some guy by himself repeatedly for this long is just... Yeah, that took too long. I didn't see if he got hits in or not, but that was definitely not the way to go. Both the Cav are knocked out here, and Sturgians are still in their first lives, so kind of a huge misplay by Tony and Squiggles. I mean, they got a lot of score in, so they're not performing terribly, but Sturgie can't really force a fight in an enclosed area at this point. And they have only 1 out on Azurai, which is actually not bad. So, I mean, they're all pretty low. I think this is still very winnable for Sturgia. And in fact, I think that they're probably up in terms of health pool, but they are down an extra player. A 3 cap because of the amount of infantry here, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Cody's amount of infantry. And they're going to use and abuse this open flag. And this is one of the most open objectives on a skirmish map, period. A lot of these native maps, you know, tend to have these more open objectives. It's not as typical for a custom map to be quite so open. Nasty bump stab on Bigbee. This is definitely a problem because you got 3 Cav, you know, they're going to bump stab you. Even in C Division, they know how to bump stab. And you just sitting there is going to get you killed, but if you swing, that also gets you killed, so this is just nasty for them. This is not a fun spot to be in for Sturgia. They really needed one of their cavalry players to not be down right now. Yeah, that is... It's really unfortunate, and I think the Sturgian infantry did hold up their end of the bargain there, and the Cav just unfortunately made a bad play somewhere. I didn't see where exactly. I'm going to guess it was to get the archer, and maybe that is why Percival was down, and they were down, I'm not sure. Didn't see it happen. Okay, for composition, I don't know. I'm going to guess that Sturgia has no archer still, and I'm going to guess... Let's think. Yeah, I don't know. No archer on Sturgia, no comp changes on Sturgia. Still a 4-2 there. For Azurai, it is still a 2-1-3. Tony's by himself, contesting both the Cav, the shorter spear by far, by the way. And Cody took a nasty hit, but so far, Sturgians are finding Cav. Archer is getting in that fight a little bit. So Sturgian probably wants to leave. Oh, that is brutal. Definitely the harder Cav class to fight as here, because you get an extra 10 length on that bamboo spear. Poe is just brutalizing Sturgy and Cav. Killed both of them. And he's about to kill their infantry. They get an overhead stab there. That's pretty nice. Yikes. This has not been a great half for Dusk. You know, one thing that they haven't really tried is trying to force a fight in B. I suppose if your cav are getting killed, it's kind of hard to pick your battles. But they probably should have stopped going to A at this point. I mean, I think Dusk might have given up. Maybe they're not trying. I mean, I'm sure they're trying, right? But are they expecting to win? Are they doing everything they can at this point? I'm not sure they are. They may not be using the most of their creativity or strategy at this point. I probably wouldn't be either. So yeah, I don't know. Are those all first lives, Azurai? Viper still has 2 respawns, and the Sturgians are completely dead. That is brutal. Okay, wow. I know. Okay, let's do the swap teams thing here. Okay. Gonna be the last set. We're on the 4th set currently. It was a 3-0, then a 6-0, then a 9-0. First map was Fort of Honor, Landia versus Britannia. The closest that Dusk got to winning a round was probably the second round of this map, Trading Post. Sturgian Infantry really did a great job of killing the Azurai. Fought in enclosed areas on this ramp and on the staircase, but their cav went down, and that was, they just couldn't deal with 3 mattered opponents with no spears. That was just really hard to watch. I'm sure it's frustrating to have essentially no tools to oppose that. You know, I don't think that there was a better way that they could have played that as a Sturgian Infantry. Like, they had been fighting on A that entire time, that round I'm talking about. So there's no way to, like, go to B and loot a spear or something. That was just not an option. Maybe if they're creative, they would have gone to C and looted a spear if there was one from a dead cavalry player or not. I'm not sure if there was or not. But number 1, I wouldn't think of that during a round myself. And number 2, if they're getting harassed by 3 cav players, 3 cav players would probably just go over there to harass them. Albeit it wouldn't be as open as A. So that's the one thing that they could have done better as Sturgian Infantry, maybe. I don't know if they had enough time with morale that round. They probably did have some time. Anyways, looking at, it's going to be the last set here. And we have now Stepbrothers fighting on Sturgia and Dusk on Azurai. Maybe Dusk brings an archer this set. Azurai certainly has a better archer, even on this mod, than... that's true both on this mod and native, so... Anyways, no archer... Wait, oh, actually, there's a new player in Brenton here. So I was totally wrong. Now it's a 1-1-4 composition. Looks like that was the only substitution, was Brenton for, I guess, one of their cav players, CodyBloom. And, sorry, did I say the totally wrong thing there? I did. CodyBloom's on the other team, I'm sorry. I don't know who got changed out, but somebody did. Probably be able to figure that out at some point. Anyways, Percival is still an archer, even though Sturgia doesn't have the best one. It's not terrible. And I think it's a little bit better on the mod, because this is the multiplayer plus mod. Okay, so Sturgia is now fighting the Azurai infantry. Cav is nowhere to be seen, except for here they are. Juice is too far away, probably. Bigbee goes down first, and then Kobalt, and nobody's down on Sturgia. that I can see. Actually, you know what? I was wrong. One brick cap did go down. CodyBloom got killed earlier. That was, I guess, before this fight, mostly. Azurite been totally wiped out on their first lives. It's not great. Only one dead on Sturgia, one of the cap players. This guy gets a nasty hit from overhead from that cav there. They're just not getting hits in there at all. I think they've kind of given up. I mean, Squiggles is still trying. He got lucky there. I don't think he saw that guy. That was good awareness. This is not... Where's his teammate? Oh, there's no teammate because he was the one cav. Good point. Okay. Well... At this point, it's looking like it might be a 12-0. Attempted bump stab. He doesn't get reared. It's very aggressive. Juice gets headshot point blank. Yeah. I wasn't terribly optimistic after the first set was a 3-0, but I didn't think it was going to be a 12-0. And there definitely are some very solid players on Dusk's team. I think for a C Division team, you know, definitely I think Squiggles is pulling his weight. It was Tony who they subbed out. Tony was doing pretty well on Cav also for Dusk. I don't know. I think overall, it's hard to fault one player individually. I think this is kind of just an overall difference in skill. It doesn't have to be a drastic one to have a huge difference in outcome, so... I think there have been probably some rounds where the Dusk Cav played a little bit better than the Stepbrothers Cav. There have been some rounds where the Dusk Infantry played a little bit better than the Stepbrothers Infantry. But that was usually offset by their other specials, or mainline infantry, whatever it is going to be. The other component of that equation, Stepbrothers, was just kind of consistent enough that one part of their team playing a little bit worse than their enemy just didn't matter in any of these rounds so far. First fight's happening right now. Both infantry or I should say both archers are very close. Percy pushed up very aggressively, which is not very conventional, although... What happened there? Somebody just fell off. Okay. Did an instant replay on that. Do we have that working right now? What is my hotkey there? Is it Alt B or is it Alt C? I don't think it's working right now. Oh well. Yeah, that is not happening right now, unfortunately. Actually didn't test the instant replay functionality before the round started. Oh well. We'll edit that in post. What the heck was that? Did he get shot while falling? Couldn't tell there. Yikes. Poe is kind of carrying this match. I mean, not carrying, but he's doing really well consistently. Like that. Make a wild guess. This is going to be another lost round for Azra, unfortunately. And... well, I don't know. I think credit to Dusk for playing it out, even when they knew that it was a lost match. I mean, it was known to be lost basically after the first round of the third set. They knew it was a lost match. So at that point, the best they could have done would have been a 7-6 I will not say that in the reverse order. All right. Juice is now in Cav, which is the first time we've seen that happen. This entire match. I think. He plays very aggressively, but then doesn't swing, and Squiggles is now fighting both these Cav by himself. Doesn't get punished too hard for it. Yeah, I guess that was Brenton shooting into the fight for once, and not just Percy Vert. Maybe it was Percy, I don't actually know. Brenton, they have 2 archers. I didn't notice that actually on Azra, 2 archers. Say 2-2-2 comp the last round. You might as well try something new, right? So, that being said, it did not work out. Yeah. Oh, okay. The instant replay just happened right now. Ignore that. It's be happening. Okay. We'll get that off the screen here in a second. Here we go. So as a fun fact, it is surprisingly complicated to get an instant replay functionality working on OBS. I did not realize it doesn't work when the quote-unquote studio mode. It's called studio mode in OBS. Once turned on, that functionality doesn't run. I had no idea. Okay. The first Force Archer gameplay in a finals match that we're seeing, which probably is because it's the first final match that we're seeing. I should say for the season. Well, maybe Rogue will just headshot all of them. Let's see. I would like to see a bump shot here. It's not bad. Okay. Ooh, that's awkward. He almost gets murdered by the guy up the staircase. He's at 264 score right now. Let's see how much damage he does. The falling guy. Do an assassination attempt here. I imagine one of these guys is going to mount up. Okay, well, overall, 12-0, and good showing from both teams. Like I said, very skilled players in both teams. Just enough of a difference on net that the result was pretty far apart, unfortunately. Anyways, I imagine that the B and A Div finals will be a little bit closer. We have the A Div finals starting here in about 20 minutes. But that is going to be it for this one. So I will leave you all with